Confidentiality and exclusivity. Besides what we all heard, I'd like to add a couple words on confidentiality and exclusivity, which are also part of term sheets, contracts, VC process, and so on. Let's start with the confidentiality. Sometimes entrepreneurs think VCs have to sign an NDA. This is not happening today anymore. VCs don't sign NDAs. They have reasons for not signing because they say, okay, we get so many potential investments and we get always the same idea at the same time. So it's hard to differentiate, and our business model is not to copy you, to build a business, but to finance businesses. So we are not talking about that. And that's true to some extent. If a VC starts doing things entrepreneurs don't like, he doesn't get a deal flow anymore because everybody hears about these stories. So the VC's business model is very clear, and if he executes his business model, to be honest, there's no confidentiality necessary. That's the one thing. You might want to have confidentiality when it goes into later stages of really looking into patents and so on, but maybe not the confidentiality only for the VC, and especially not for the VC, but for all those attorneys and people who do the due diligence. So NDA might play a role in that process later on. What you will find in most cases is the term confidentiality in term sheets and contracts, because in most cases what's written in the term sheet and the contract is confidential. So people don't want to talk about valuations and all sorts of things. That's the first aspect. The second aspect is the exclusivity. And VCs love to have exclusivity because they want to look at your deal really closely without having someone else who's bidding at the same time and the price is going higher and so on. You as an entrepreneur, you don't want that, for sure. But when it comes to, especially when it comes to the due diligence, the VC has at least some right to ask for exclusivity. If VC invests a lot of time, a lot of effort into a due diligence, and you walk away later on, also he wants to do the deal with you, you can argue that this is not fair. So this is the point where the VC asks you for exclusivity. It is not really easy to accept for entrepreneurs, to be honest with that, because if you as an entrepreneur give the exclusivity to one VC and this VC walks away, you have to explain all the others why the VC walked away. Everybody knows. Because in that time period of exclusivity, you're in most cases not allowed to follow on with other processes. So the way to deal with that is, if you can't avoid exclusivity, and if you want to avoid it, you can try to negotiate that you pay for some of the expenses of the VC if the deal is not happening. That's the only way to try to go in that direction. However, if you can't avoid it, try to restrict the time frame for the exclusivity. The lower number of days or weeks one VC has exclusivity, the less the chance that other VCs notice that there is some exclusivity in that process. Because again, if one VC walks away, the probability that others might walk away because the one walked away is really high. If one VC wants to invest, all the others think about doing the same, especially if it's a very, very well-known VC. So avoid that situation that it is too transparent that you are exclusive with one, because if you're not, it helps you in the process of bidding, of getting a better valuation for your company. And it's also, from a signaling effect, it's not the bad signaling if everybody notices there was exclusivity, but the one who did a closer look walked away.